Dismiss this stupid thing.
Hey, you can see Mothra. Hey, Mothra.
Why don't you take the tag off?
Because it's actually from Japan.
Do I want the YouTube page or do I want the embed page?
I don't know. What do you want?
With the YouTube page.
YouTube page, because we can't tweak the embed code.
That's probably
normally we steal it. We kind of, edit it around. Bonk, bonk. Oh, that sucks.
What?
Oh, it's not doing what I want it to do. Links. Links.
Oh, there's the chat. Okay.
Copy. Let's see if that worked.
Hey, don't copy that, Floppy.
No. Why doesn't it like me? Links.
See if I can move my webcam lower so I don't see my baldingness. Or just wear a cap like you do.
I have reasons for my cap. There we go. It is at the top of the page now, Melissa.
What page?
How did I get there? Oh,
the notes. I thought you pasted it into the chat.
In the note?
Well, the wrong notes from January 7th. Hold on. How I got the January 7th notes, I don't know. Oh, because they're sorted differently because I'm in the wrong account.
Just paste it into the group chat.
That would, make sense. That would be proper.
That'll work. Well, I see Fess in the group chat.
Yeah.
There, it's in the notes.
Oh, yeah, there is a note.
Sure, okay, now we...
I think I closed the group chat. Oh, I don't know. Am I in? If you're not including the admin in the group chat, I'm not in it anymore because I'm now logged in as admin. That's why I'm not seeing the group chat. Because none of you like me.
Okay, so we're live?
Yes, we are live. It says live. There's a live thing.
Not it.
I've screwed it up enough already,
Facebook. Let's see, this is episode 228, week of June 8th. It's June 10th. Yeah, okay. I'll wait for a countdown.
5, 4, 3.
Hello, world, and welcome to the Geek Life for the week of June 8th. This is episode 228, recording as always on Tuesday of the week. Therefore, it's actually June 10th because we can travel forward in time. We just haven't perfected the backward thing yet, but we're working on that. Today with us we have Fess.
Hello.
And Melissa.
Hello.
Mike is sadly out with an eye issue today, and Richard is still off on his secret ninja missions assassinating people of unknown origin.
Mike's just still embarrassed about not getting his mic to work, and
that too.
He made up the eye thing, I'm sure.
We have lots of fun stuff by the looks of it, including video releases from Melissa.
We do. Well, we don't have much from video releases because it's summertime and everybody's supposed to be outside playing. But and so there's not a whole lot coming out that's really hugely exciting.
Just go right on into it.
Like the remake of RoboCop is coming out this week.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, you reminded me the new Tom Cruise film, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, I hear, is fantastic.
My favorite review of it on Twitter I saw so far. Edge of Tomorrow is that movie that everybody's going to watch on Netflix 6 months from now and wonder why they didn't see it in theaters.
Oh, like the new Dredd movie.
Yeah.
Just like that. So yeah, but RoboCop's not one of those. But RoboCop is coming out this week, so you can see RoboCop. Like me, because I didn't manage to go see it in the theaters, and I will see it because I like that director, even though I hear it's not that great of a movie. In much better movie column, there is a movie called Tim's Vermeer coming out. It's about a man who decided to see if he could completely faithfully replicate Vermeer's paintings, and including the possible use of a device like a camera obscura to get the right type of light in.
Cool.
I haven't seen the movie, but I heard the guy talk for like an hour about his process in discovering how Vermeer made his work, and it sounds like an incredibly fascinating thing. So that actually comes recommended this week. Catalog titles, we've got Kismet, 1955 on Blu-ray.
Always good.
We also have Clint Eastwood in Tightrope on Blu-ray. And the Nutty Professor 50th Anniversary Mega Blu-ray box set sort of thing.
Woot.
So if you're into that, this week is for you. Criterion's got some fun stuff. All That Heaven Allows, the Douglas Sirk film, is coming out this week in Criterion, Blu-ray in all of its Criterion-y glory. Also, L'Eclisse, which is an Alain Delon film, if I remember right, in all of its Criterion goodness. TV has some exciting stuff this week. We've got the big Breaking Bad complete series box set landing this week.
Sorry,
Also,
the order things are in. I just mushed Breaking Bad and Cosmos into one thing, and my brain hurt. So.
Well, there's science, sort of.
Breaking Bad Cosmos.
Breaking Bad Cosmos. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson would be a really interesting Walter White. So, yeah, Cosmos is also coming out this week, the Neil deGrasse Tyson version, as well as True Detective. So, if you've been waiting to watch True Detective, this is,
It?
you can go see it. You can see it. You can own it in your filthy little hands.
Cool. And if you're really desperate, there is also the YouTube parody Cosmos on Weed.
Wow.
With
so
Neil
the
deGrasse Tyson look like going, we're going to explain Andromeda Galaxy after I roll this J. Andromeda, and it's a big word.
The funny thing is you had said Cosmos on Weed, and I said, oh, it's the Carl Sagan version.
Essentially.
Has anyone seen the original Carl Sagan Cosmos remash? I think it's a remash because fuck me if it was actually part of the series, but somebody did a recut, I think, and made him talk about a meat planet. A planet made of meat.
It's a planet made of meat.
It's spliced in such a way where I was like, this wasn't really in what?
I have distinct memories as a kid of watching the Meat Planet episode, but it was edited out later when Peter arrived.
I'll look for a link.
Meat Planet.
Yeah, so title of the week, we didn't have anything really exciting for title of the week. We had Fun in Boys Shorts, which which is a link I did not want to click on to find out what it was.
I've never really had lots personally. Oh wait.
Fun in Boys Shorts, but apparently Fess did click on it, and it's a gay thing. So,
shock.
So there you go.
Shock and surprise.
So instead of going for titles that were actually released this week, I will offer up titles that were given to me a couple weeks ago by Mandy Dax on the Twitters, because she had a whole awesome sauce load of them during the week I missed. So first of all, we've got the double feature of I Drink Your Blood and I Eat Your Skin.
A nice culinary double feature.
Yes, delicious. And also SS Experiment Love Camp.
I'm king of the world! Sorry.
For all your Nazi porn needs. But my favorite is Ant Farm Dickhole, which is a movie about a guy who has army ants living in his penis, and he can summon them for vengeance.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Why ants?
I don't know.
Why not angry ticks that fly out of my nipples?
Because your nipples aren't designed to hold ticks.
And ticks don't fly.
Exactly. There is. I could think of the movie to pair it up with, but I'm blanking on it. The one where the guy has the demon up his derriere.
Oh God, what was that called?
I'm blanking on it, but yeah, it'd be a good double feature.
It wouldn't be something as simple as Ass Demon, would it?
No, it was like the name of the demon, like Buddy or something.
Buddy the Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. So yeah, that's what I got.
Bad Milo. It's amazing. It's amazing how good Google is when you just type "man has demon in ass," and the first hit was Bad Milo.
Bad Milo.
Google Foo is powerful.
I want to cut that together with Milo and Otis. Bad Milo and Otis.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about him coming to terms with the demon Milo and trying to stop it from killing people. But it's unfortunately comes out of his ass.
Yep.
And we killed the episode. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. That's.
I'm gonna go have fun in boy shorts now. Wait.
Yeah. Fun in boy shorts.
Jesus.
Fess.
All right.
Are you having fun in boy shorts?
Well, my shorts have pockets on them, and these are man shorts.
Oh, is that the distinction?
I'm pretty sure.
La-ti-da.
Alright.
I live in a house of scatological humor. I can lower myself. So.
All right. So there's this article on comics, going into the comics category now. There's this comic on comicsalliance.com.
Never heard of them. Just kidding.
San Diego Comic-Con doesn't want to address its harassment problem because people might think it has an harassment problem.
Yes. Department of Redundancy Department.
Yeah, so it's like, they should just be following the rules. And
we don't want to post those posters about costumes aren't consent because, well, they're not.
Yeah. It's and somebody brought up, they're arguing about something about like common sense and something like that, and there's a counter argument about there's no actual defined consensus of what common sense means, and
oh Jesus Christ!
It's basically it's more stuff about Comic-Con, just
if this is online. Yeah, if this is online debate, and part of my reaction is, okay, how many on the spectrum people are now picking apart and all the metaphors and losing sight of what it's about? Because that seems to be like the automatic debate thing that happens on massive internet debates. Like this, people start just picking apart these niggling details. It's like, no, stop. You've lost sight of the discussion here. Let's back this up a few steps. Harassment.
So it comes from Geeks for Consent has a petition to ask Comic-Con to amend their policy with saying a harassment reporting mechanism and visible, easy to find on-site support for people who are who want to report harassment. Signs throughout the convention publicizing the harassment policy and zero tolerance enforcement mechanisms, not just on the web page when you buy a ticket, and information for attendees on how to report, and a 1-hour training for volunteers on how to respond. And part of Comic-Con's response from David Glasner says, because we're really an international show, we have 3,000 members of the media. I think the story would be harassment is such an issue at Comic-Con that they needed to post these signs around here. Now, people within the industry and fans know that isn't the case. But the general public out there, I think the news media might look at it as, why would you if it wasn't such a big issue? It's like, okay, so don't look responsible. Okay, that's fine.
This is Comic-Con in San Diego, so...
It's Comic-Con International, I'm sure. Yeah. Well...
There now. It's the biggest one, right? Technically.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest one in the U.S.
Yeah, that's right.
There are bigger ones in Japan. By far.
No, we're talking about like Comic-Con, Comic-Con International, that group that owns
right.
Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to even touch on Japan. That's a whole nother country. Wait.
Keep your tentacles to yourself.
Exactly. Sailor Moon costumes are not consent, even when it is the fat hairy guy wearing it.
Mm.
Yeah, and my general reaction, Comic-Con San Diego one is that it's gotten so huge. It's like it's almost like some computer shows that got too huge. It's like you look for some of the big announcements, and I don't think I ever want to go to one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a pro, I'm not going to sell anything there, and it just looks too damn crowded otherwise.
They're heinous to navigate, especially if you're just there as a fan.
And I'm not there for the eye candy, to be honest. I mean,
There are some boons to the mega huge shows. San Diego, I mean, if you're into starfuckery, if you like to see the the legendary people of the entertainment industry show up and talk live in a room that you happen to be in, probably very far from the stage, but you're in the same room with them. That's the place for you.
Yeah,
it takes you a while to get in there, but
if you have money, if you have money and patience.
Yeah. If you have money and patience.
There's been humorous stuff that I would love to be in the room for. The day Michael Judge was explained what furries were was quite humorous. That's on YouTube. Yeah, there was a Stargate panel, and somebody brings up furries. He's like, "What's that?" And whoever plays Daniel whispers in his ear. He's like, "What? What? Why haven't I tried that?" Indicating like with his paramour.
Yeah, I will say when I used to go to San Diego Comic-Con, it was fun when you were there. It's the paying $1 zillion for a room. It's struggling to get in and out of places. It's worse now.
Yeah.
I mean, I started going to San Diego Comic-Con when it was about 60,000 people, which is big.
Which is huge.
But it's much bigger now.
It's so big now that to me it's like.
It's more than twice the size, and it's still in the same venue.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's a huge fucking venue.
Yeah.
But it's all crammed up against the waterfront, and San Diego, that area of San Diego, can only absorb so many people. Yeah.
And
it's madness.
Where I feel I'm getting older, curmudgeon-y when I start looking at these sort of major events. I'm like, nah, it's too much of a bother.
I will say it's worth going once. Just to
like DragonCon, do it once, or WorldCon if you can get to WorldCon once, preferably international one, not national one. Just my bias, but just for a different flavor.
I think DragonCon is a good one to do. Actually, if you're looking for a mega-sized convention to go to, DragonCon is actually pretty well done. It's spread out kind of over a 10-block area of Atlanta, so there's it. And downtown Atlanta can absorb a lot of people, and it's got the facilities to do that. And if you walk 2 blocks out of that radius, you're out of the zone. You can still get a restaurant table. Yeah, you can get out of there. But it's segmented enough that you never are in a room where you see like a good portion of the attendance all at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas San Diego Comic-Con has rooms that hold 6,000 people. Panel rooms. Panel.
That's all of Convergence in one room.
That's all of Convergence in a room. Watch a panel.
Okay, now
everyone
that's the panel I want to see.
SmackDown and.
No. Exactly. I want to see Convergence. Convergence get one panel at San Diego Comic-Con. This is Convergence. Welcome to our con for the next hour. If you really like it, come to Minneapolis.
House of Toast is over there.
Yeah, just.
Holy shit! If a House of Toast set up at San Diego Comic-Con,
oh shit!
Like a quarter of the country would run out of bread.
Yes. All the artisanal bakers in San Diego be going, no! That's sourdough, that's ours now. Yes.
Okay.
I suppose we should move on.
So who remembers Bill Watterson?
I do. I remember Bill Watterson.
In fact, I have a humorous story after you explain this.
Well, wouldn't you guys like to see Bill Watterson return to comics?
You know what?
Gosh.
I did. Because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I wasn't going to give it away.
Apparently, Stephen Pastis, the creator of Pearls Before Swine, secretly had Bill Watterson as a guest artist for 3 of his comic strips.
Yep.
And
or rather, didn't Bill Watterson contact him and say, I have a great idea?
No, the way around.
Yes.
Yeah, really? Oh, okay.
Stephen basically was trying to get a hold of him, and there was like an intermediate, and there's like, whatever, you just try contacting him yourself, and so he's like, he did the usual, I was like, hey, I think you're awesome, and blah, 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 and eventually, and Bill Watterson actually got back to him, and, he had been reading Pearls Before Swine, and he made this idea, it's like how you, in your comic, how you're always, like, dogging your own artwork in it? Well, what if you had a character that took over and drew your comic for you, but they were like, way younger than you, and they drew way better than you, or whatever. Basically, that's what it boiled down to.
Mhm.
Yep. It's also the strip that Pastis sent Watterson to kind of start the deal off once he decided to get in contact with him directly, which is he sent him the one where he inserts Pastis inserts himself in the strip. He's at a bar. It's like, I draw cartoons. What do you do? Oh, have you ever heard of Calvin and Hobbes? The next scene is Pastis and this random woman in bed together, and Pastis going, I'm so going to hell. And he sent that to Watterson. No, the humorous story is the week this happened, my eldest daughter is a big fan of Calvin and Hobbes and also a big fan of Pearls and Pearls Before Swine, and reads Pearls Before Swine daily, and noticed the artwork and sent it to. Didn't mention it to me, but mentioned it to her mother. Like, doesn't this look a lot like Bill Watterson in Calvin and Hobbes? And it's like, yeah, it does a lot. So she was like one of the first I know who noticed it right off the bat. So, yay, fandom.
The lettering is a dead giveaway.
Yeah, lettering. Some of the blacks he did in one of them was a real big giveaway. But yeah.
Well, his line work is pretty unmistakable, but it's the lettering. You go, that's Calvin and Hobbes right there.
I never liked Pearls Before Swine, so also I don't read the newspaper anymore. Though
she reads it online. Who reads it on the newspaper? You go to Go Comics or whatever. And
yeah, I suppose there's Go Comics. So Pearls Before
Swine. She reads on her iPad. Yeah.
But I really don't. I don't. Even with that, I don't read any newspaper comics. Even with it being online, I don't read any newspaper comics. I kind of feel like I should be reading Foxtrot because I've always liked Foxtrot. But
that's Sundays only, I think.
Yeah, and he's pretty pretty involved in the community.
Yeah. Have you ever read Fraz?
Fraz is okay.
Okay, I like Fraz a lot, but I have a bias on it. So.
Yeah, I never liked working in a cubicle job before, so maybe I didn't adapt to that style. Oh wait, not Fraz. I'm thinking of the other guy.
Dilbert. No, Fraz is the janitor at a high school or at a grade school.
Oh yeah, Fraz. Fraz is that one that looks like it could have been done by Bill Watterson.
That was kind of the inspiration for the guy who does it, but.
I mean, especially since the guy kind of looks like him. The eyes and noses are very similar. He also rides a bike a lot, like his dad used to.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it also helps that the guy who does the strip is an avid triathlete, so he's actually written like a book on being a triathlete using his artwork from Fraz. Here's how to do the training.
All right.
Yeah, it was really cool that happened, and highly suggest I think you have the link in there. Pastis's blog site on it is hilarious to read through on how he did it, and his little issue with Watterson, like he doesn't do digital. So I do really want him sending me originals in the mail that will get chewed up at the end of my driveway that are worth thousands of dollars.
It's true. It's I don't know. Bill Watterson, I don't know what happened, but
well, he's his own guy.
Make something. We'll love whatever you make. I just want to see you do stuff.
He does watercolors, I thought.
Yeah, I want to see it.
He does.
Yeah, they have to be like local to get one, but.
No, I scan it. I want to see it or whatever. I want to see your work. It's like even if you do like scenes, those scenes were always awesome. It's like whatever.
Jack.
Solar freaking roadways. Dream destroy.
Aww.
With logic and math.
Shit. How dare you use that stuff?
It's like it seemed like it really. It was like
Cosmos.
Yeah, Melissa and I were like as if there's still like maybe a shred of possibility that it could be used in some manner. But this video goes through every single little thing. Is like, yeah, there's no way this is going to happen because it doesn't make sense and it's way too costly and there's smells of BS in various places.
Well, like we were discussing, if you were trying to do it up here, it really wouldn't work. You don't clear the snow away enough, you can't withstand plows, yada, yada, yada.
The glass is going to round.
Yep.
It's going to lose whatever texture might be on there eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially up here with salt and sand.
Well, and the one I always wondered about is when they mentioned the conduit on the side of it, and they kind of glossed over the cost of that. I'm like, but But installing that is right-of-way access and other issues, and okay, whatever, if you find somebody willing to test it. But
Well, I think it's a good start to an idea. There needs to be a lot more work thrown into it to make it viable.
Tops of buildings.
Yeah, tops of buildings, easy. Or or even just try it on some parking lots or something. I mean,
which are usually mostly covered during the day with cars.
Yeah, but I mean,
so you put it on top of the cars. Oh wait.
Oh no, there was like in the video that he showed like canopied parking lots that had solar panels on top.
See, that'd be cool.
Which in snowy regions wouldn't work, but not every place is Minnesota, thank God.
No, some are Wisconsin. Wait.
Oh.
Oh. Or Michigan. No, never mind.
No. There must be a place south.
Arizona. No, that's a mythical land.
So you can go ahead and watch this video and just see your hopes of Tron getting destroyed because LEDs don't work in the daylight like that.
True. My hope is that they keep working at it and at least find use for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those. Okay, it's not going to do what you originally wanted to do, but there's potential here for other applications. So, figure out what that is.
Yeah, there are plenty of other places, flat places that are not being used that can be covered in
Saudi Arabia. Sorry.
The Bonneville Salt Flats.
All right. If we're gonna, let's move on to. I don't know what this next thing is.
This next thing?
Yeah. What's this next thing?
WW.
Oh, Apple had an event.
Apple had an event. WWDC.
Apple did a thing.
Everybody's covered this to death by now because it's a week old. Basically, WWDC, which ended last week, is the Worldwide Developers Conference for Apple, where they announced tons and tons of stuff and lots of interesting things. And like I said, you can pretty much throw a stone at any other tech newscast out there, or blog or whatever, and you'll get more details than I'm even going to try to provide. The interesting thing for me about it was it was probably the most developer-focused WWDC in a while. And we're talking, they announced the next version of OS X, they announced the next version of iOS. They are putting a crap load into the back end for developers to do stuff with. Yosemite, I believe, is the next version of OS X. It's going to get lots of revamps and going to be interesting, and it actually gets a UI revamp, so it's going to be subtly different and not so subtly different in many ways. iOS 8, when it comes out, the big thing there is they are finally providing ways for different apps to hook into each other. So where traditionally, unlike Android, Apple tries to keep everything separate, they're now saying, nope, you can be in this app and it can now easily launch this app over here. And basically you can have hooks going back and forth. And so that's the first time Apple's really opened that up. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with iOS apps after that happens.
That's going to be wild.
Like number one, you can now, with iOS 8, you can now go out and get third-party keyboards. If you really, really hate the keyboard on your iPhone, you can now, once iOS 8 comes out, you can now go get the keyboard of your choice in software and have it typed the way you want.
The keyboard of your dreams.
I've liked having these capabilities almost from the start on Android. Ooh.
Exactly. Well, that's what a lot of people have said, haters and all. But it's this fact that they're doing that sort of turn and moving that way. So.
Well, maybe
they refer to Android as a toxic hell stew. That was one of the better ones I liked. From the keynote, referring to all the different versions of Android and the mixtures and trying to develop for them, they quoted an article of some guy who's really pro-Apple, but as Android being this toxic hell stew of different versions. I'm like, oh, that's such a nice version.
So sweet.
So sweet. They had a lot of fun. There was some good humor. They took digs at Google, they took digs at Microsoft. It was quite but they all kind of did it as a kind of wink and a nod sort of dig, so therefore I didn't mind it too much. It wasn't a vicious sort of thing.
So maybe I can revive my idea for people who take Ambien, a lockout program. So when you take an Ambien, you lock out your phone so you can't make phone calls or Or post to social media while you're on Ambien.
Possibly that could dovetail into an article I threw in down below, but yes.
Yes.
But yeah, the Ambien lockout would be good.
Or drunk lockout or whatever lockout.
Yeah, they're trying to do more with the health thing, so they're providing APIs for developers to click in more with health, and they've made partnerships with like Mayo and everybody. So like, they're going to make the attempt that both Microsoft and Google tried, which is some sort of health record, health API set, so you can like have your doctor get stuff. Google ultimately failed and pulled the software, being Google. Health Vault, which is Microsoft's, is still out there limping along, but they really haven't done much with it. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if Apple can do anything in that front, because integrating with hospitals and clinics has always been a tough hurdle. It's just the nature of the beast in that case. So that's WWDC in a really short nutshell, because there is a ton of stuff announced. We're talking like 8,000 APIs, stuff like that just overwhelmed the developers even, and it was probably the most dense keynote they've given in a while. And of course, no new hardware, which all the hardware people are like, no, where's the watch? It's like, this is WWDC. It's supposed to be about software dudes. It's supposed to be about the guys making things. They kind of emphasized that this time, and they really played to it, so it was kind of interesting that way.
Developers, no wait.
Exactly.
Oh man, you're gonna
no Balmer, no sweaty.
That's gonna be in my head.
Developers.
I remember one late night. I don't know why. One late night with Melissa. I just
makes a hard man humble.
That's exactly where my brain.
I decided to show Melissa.
Makes a hard man humble.
Oh, I was gonna go with. I showed her the techno remix of the developers.
Oh God!
Thing.
God damn you for showing me that.
You're a cool man, Fess.
We should link that in the show notes so other people can see it if they have been living under a rock for the last 5 years.
Look at this link and do not click on it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, type in developers, suggested search, developers remix.
There you go. So that's WWDC. We're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oops. I won't play it. I'll just get the link. And
just get the link and
then slowly walk away.
Eugene Goostman. Sorry.
All right, who put in the Turing test one? Go ahead and talk.
Eugene Goostman. I gotta read more on this, to be honest. But basically, what happened is they once again did a Turing test somewhere in England this time. It technically won. It hit the 30 or 40% mark that it needed to hit to be considered winning of the Turing test. For those who don't know what the Turing test is, this is held somewhere annually, like the Museum of Computer History or places like that, where you get humans together in a room and you have monitors in front of them. Sometimes it's 2 monitors at once, sometimes it's just one, and they hold a conversation via the keyboard with whatever's on the other end of that monitor. The problem is you don't know what's on the other end is a computer or a human. And the idea of the Turing test is, can a computer actually imitate a human sufficiently enough that a human can't tell? Traditionally, no computer program has won yet. Several humans have also failed.
Wait, what?
The humans used as controls sometimes also get pegged as being computers. It's like,
I got a funny
I failed the Turing test.
There was I saw it in Google Plus somewhere, and I don't remember who posted it. I should have saved it when I saw it, but it was like a comic that somebody made, and the guy's like talking to this Eugene Goostman or whatever, which is the 13-year-old boy program or whatever.
From Ukraine or wherever.
From the Ukraine, and the comic was like the guy's talking to Eugene, and he's like, "Oh, your butt smells. You're stupid," and it's just like all these. He's trying to talk to him. It's all these random. Doesn't answer the question. And he's like, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm totally convinced that this is 100% a 13-year-old boy." Because it's so incomprehensible and just
and that's partially how it won. The from what I've heard is because they introduced it as being a non-English speaker was one get around, and a 13-year-old. Eugene Guzman won it. It fooled people a sufficiently high percentage, which in this case, like I said, was 30 to 40%, so not very high, but enough that they actually gave it the prize. It was the first computer program to actually fool humans at some degree of rate versus all the others which have utterly failed. And of course, it was run by the Royal Society on an unspecified supercomputer. So that kind of helps. You know, you have a supercomputer at your disposal. But yeah, it's kind of interesting having watched Turing tests over the years and listening to how bad they are. My favorite article is still the guy who wrote about being the human in the Turing test and being told he wasn't human.
I'd like to
I want that T-shirt. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Melissa's still muted, which is why we don't hear her saying anything.
I fixed it now. Okay, so I did just do a search. There is a T-shirt out. There are many T-shirts out there. I failed the Turing test. So if you need a T-shirt that says "I failed the Turing test," there are many on the internet.
I'm sadly not wearing my other T-shirt. I'll tell you about in a bit, but you'll appreciate the other one I bought a while ago.
There's the other thing I was going to say is I think it's really interesting that part of the success of passing the Turing test is just the framing of how they presented the AI.
That I thought too was interesting when I found out more about that they present as a non-English speaker as a young boy. It's like, now you're kind of gaming the system a bit, you know, because it should be more complex.
I don't know. Some of the first things that I do is like whenever I get like, it's just like I'd like to be the one of the people taking the taking the test, not giving the test. The ones that have to decide whether or not you think it's a human or a bot, because it's like, you know, in my days, you know, it's like there were chat bots and everything like that. Right. And the first thing is like, oh, are you a bot? And you see how they handle that, and you go from there.
That's a classic strategy with it, yeah.
But you know, it's like. It's also like, you know, I probably would end up going too far to the point of which they wouldn't actually keep talking to me like that, so they'd probably sign off for a little.
So, do you like to watch gladiator movies? No, the T-shirt one of you might appreciate that. Sadly, I don't have on at the moment because it's in the wash. I couldn't resist getting it from Woot, just to go off into a rat hole. It's a glass, purpley full of water, midway about.
Okay.
With a very sad face and eyes that are crying, and the statement next to it is "Stop judging me." The daughters like it. So.
Wow.
But yes, the Turing test. So it kind of got one. I kind of agree with the people who are calling it on they set it up too much. They gamed the system a bit, but still, it's interesting.
But you know, on the flip side of that, isn't part of the is the framing part of winning the Turing test.
And I don't. Go ahead.
Well, it's also part of like how bots trick people anyway. I mean, that's the whole point. It's like, it's like, you know, it's like, are you really like the 18-year-old girl from California who's single? Teehee. You know, it's like they're set up. They're presented as I'm really this, and then. Right. It's like you always get a setup like that with whomever you're talking to.
Or any MMO where you can't see the person, you unless they give it away blatantly. You know, there's here's what I'm saying I am, and then there's well, what am I really talking to besides a high elven or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The number of times Wendy and her friend Julie have been online on World of Warcraft and been in a party raiding somewhere, and somebody says something, and they both kind of chuckle to each other in a private chat going, they don't realize we can be their moms. Or once in a while, Wendy or Julie will drop that one, and suddenly the chat kind of calms down. Because it's like, oh, women, you know, not just girls play this, but girls my mom's age play this.
Well, you can always just go, you realize how old this game is.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's no 12-year-olds who know that. Or care.
You weren't even alive when I started playing this game.
So thanks for nothing, jerk face.
My roommates are playing EverQuest back in the day.
I think Paul's trying to move on.
I tried. I failed.
Yeah, go for it, Paul.
Well, thanks for nothing, jerk face. There you go.
Oh, well, fine.
Fine. No, this is a humorous one. Is it Violet Blue? I have to look up the author again. I apologize. I didn't write in there the ZDNet article. But basically, there was a small conference where Brin, one of the bigwigs of Google, basically admitted he really shouldn't have been involved in Google Plus because he's just kind of weird about social media and doesn't quite get it. And this is a month after the guy who was hired to lead Google Plus has just stepped down, Mr. Gundrotra.
Mm-hmm.
Like a year ago, Gundrota is introducing Brin as the brains behind it, and this is awesome. And Brin's like, this is awesome with awesome sauce, and I know social media, da 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 da. And then suddenly, quietly in this small, West Coast conference, he's like, nah, I really don't. I'm weird and I don't get it. And where this author kind of has a point is so you basically BS'd us a year ago, and because you don't get it, this is what led to stupidity in Google Plus, forcing of real names. And not just forcing of real names, retroactive forcing of real names with little notification. So what this had the effect of is a couple of trans people who had not come out yet were outed.
Mm-hmm.
And other people who could, LGBT, or people who could be in sensitive situations, just basically who were maybe putting stuff on Google Plus under what they thought was a safe pseudonym, all of a sudden found that everything they were doing on Google was getting tied to one name, and their G Plus was getting revealed under their real name, because Google decided everything has to tie down to one account no matter where it is, and it has to have a real name behind it.
Which isn't a bad idea, but you don't just... That's some Facebook crap that you're doing, just pulling it on it and changing things on
It's
you.
beyond Facebook crap, because we're talking any YouTube comment you made is now on G Plus under your real name. Any comment you made anywhere else in the Google ecosystem gets aggregated down to G+, essentially, to some extent, and under your name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people are going, wait a minute, especially if you are an Android user and have a heavy investment in this universe. They basically retroactively aggregate you down to one ID, and people like me don't like that, because if I'm on YouTube, I tend to want to present a YouTube persona. If I'm on G+, that's a different persona. If I'm over here, Facebook is my family's on there. I'm connected with my dad. I'm connected with cousins, etc. Therefore, I present purely a family-friendly outlook. I don't talk politics. I don't do anything else on Facebook. It's just, here's what's happening at the house. Here's how the kids are doing, da-da-da. G+ is where I will post my political rants. I'd like to keep those separate, please. YouTube, I like to keep separate, because if somebody comments on YouTube, I don't want going back to G+, because that's a whole separate channel. But Google doesn't view it that way, because they want to aggregate your life. So
I've never had to change my name. It's always... Because I also... It's like whenever I sign up for anything and it says, put your real name in, I put Festworks, which is not my birth name. And this was even before I got Festworks as an assumed name, so technically I legally can use that name in these fields. But,
right.
I've never got flagged for it. And the last name is Works. I mean, you'd think that one of you get flagged for it, but I know how terrible it is for... I have a friend that has a non-traditional name in which it doesn't fit into first name, last name basis, and she can't put all these different hyphens in her first name. It's just... It was horribly taken care of. It's exactly why they got a backlash on Google Wave, when they just suddenly oh, by the way, your full name's online right now. And
yeah.
What?
Yep.
That's privacy issue right there.
Right.
I don't know why more didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that was what this person was going back and griping about. It's like, thanks, Bryn, for now admitting that you didn't know what you were doing, because it was evident to a lot of us, but you wouldn't.
It was you.
Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting rant. I mean, there's the counter rant of you're online, you should expect it all to be public, but there's also a long-standing online thing of the ability to use pseudonyms, at least consistent pseudonyms. I will state that, not just being totally anonymous, but for example, I've had a consistent pseudonym online for a long time. That if you know me, you know what it is. I've been using it for a better part of 12 years. It's Scepter 1067, and it's just what I prefer to post as, because that's I still from the old school of having a handle. But Google, I've caved into it. To me, it doesn't bother me too much, because I'm not a major entity on the internet, as it were. So it doesn't do much to me. But where it outs somebody accidentally, or potentially put somebody in a position of a sensitive position because maybe you are in an abusive relationship or something.
Or even just like
No.
The family. There's a reason why my extended family only knew that of my online me existed like a couple of years ago, is because they're a fairly religious family, and here I was, for the past several years making a comic that was basically revolving around some paganistic ideas, and I curse a fair amount, and I'm pretty vocal. I was at the time pretty vocal about a lot of things. It's like, oh yeah, I don't feel like even though I don't hang out with my extended family too much, or even my immediate family too much, I don't want to end up being inadvertently ostracized and feel I have to censor everything I say because they can see what I'm saying now.
Exactly. So.
Well, that and jobs. Let's not forget about just jobs looking you up for stuff.
Well, that too, yeah.
Well, I wanted, the pseudonym too. I'm paranoid too.
If any job cared what I was doing online, I'd be in so much fucking trouble.
I suppose.
I'm traditionally in a line of work that expects me to be online, so.
Mm-hmm.
So, translate tune from sign language. There's an app for that. Who's that one?
This comes from TechCrunch.com. It's by a company called Motion Savvy. It's not necessarily an app, but it's also. It looks like it also requires like a thing you would clip your tablet into that would help to read what other people are signing, or help you translate what you're signing into something that they would be reading. And they're looking for like 800. Over 800 deaf people have signed up for the beta test, and they're still looking for more people right now. And I think this would be an amazing piece of hardware software if it can really work right. Because it only. Because we can do a lot with we can text, we can type, we can sort of like that. But like when you're like unplugged, it's still an issue.
I'm curious how it works because there's some interesting things with sign language that you have to take into account.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite is when you're talking about a third person, you actually physically make a motion to where they are standing in your group, and then you always point there. So it's just how do you account for that in a software app? It would be kind of fun to watch. So, the one thing I've always been disappointed by is an acquaintance from many, many jobs ago because she was a translator for Inner City, she actually had the whole book on all the drug paraphernalia stuff you had to know. I'm like, what? Can you loan me that? So.
Yeah, I already got somebody who follows me commenting on the Geek Life hangout, and Ben, I don't really care what you think. Honestly, we have two very differing ideas about how things should and can be, and I think you're way too judgmental in general.
What?
I'm
a conversation.
Why are you even bringing that up during the podcast?
Because I think this show is awesome.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I didn't see it right away. Oh, Sign Comics take on. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Tree Lobsters posted the comic that you mentioned.
Yeah. Which one?
Tree Lobsters. Eugene Gustman.
Oh, awesome.
I think it's the one you mentioned.
All right. Let's see here. Moving on.
No, it's different than the one you mentioned, but still.
Oh, well, all right. So, a new biometric watch. Who had this one?
Me. We can skip if you want. That was a quickie in there. I didn't notice how much we had on our General Geek. Basically, all it is a friend of mine posted this article over on G+. A couple of guys are trying to develop a different idea of biometric watches. The one I thought was interesting is there's two different ones out there. One is to do better on monitoring your pulse. The one I thought was more interesting is it uses a sensor, a magnet, and a laser. I didn't read fast enough to understand how it combines these things, but basically it can non-invasively monitor your glucose and dehydration level, which for those who have diabetes type 1 or type 2, this could be a neat thing to get if they perfect it. So I thought, the Internet of all things and the idea of, smartwatches coming up, the fact that somebody is figuring out finally how to just via skin reading, or basically much like a pulsometer where it kind of goes past the skin level using a laser and reads back, that they're trying to figure out a way to monitor glucose and dehydration. They might have figured it out. So when it could come to market, who knows?
The glucose monitoring can be
that could
huge.
be major.
Huge.
So when we can come to market, I'll have to read the article in detail, but it's just one of those that looked neat. So.
That's a good one.
General Geek, E3, what's that?
Yeah.
Apparently did anybody follow that? I didn't.
I caught.
I never.
All I caught was Nintendo's digital thing, because honestly, Nintendo's the only one I actually ever cared for. And I hear it's so poisonous. I think when it's like you got fanboys who are like this and that, but I don't care about. I really don't. I don't care about the Xbox One. Very much don't. I don't care about the PlayStation 4 or the is what I sometimes call it. But PS4, there's 4 S's.
Yes.
Anyway, so Xbone and the PS. It's not. I don't care. I don't even have a Wii U because all the systems are really expensive, and I don't really have the time, so I don't really bother anymore. However, I did check out a bunch of the video that Nintendo had, and it was really fun to watch. And it's because they had like their own little splices where I think the president of Japan and the president of America and Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Japan were like doing this sort of fighting thing. It was pretty, just ridiculous. And then it was, it's a lead into the Super Smash Brothers game.
Sorry, my first reaction was body blow, body blow.
But, it's like, yes, I want Smash Brothers, which is why I'm glad it's coming to the 3DS, because I have a 3DS and I can play that whenever. But then there's like a bunch of other games that are starting to look really, really interesting. But still, I don't, even if somebody I know locally who does comics offered to sell his Wii U to me for like $200, and it's like, I probably would jump on that, but I really don't have the time right now. Even though some of those games look really awesome, they're not even going to be here until this coming holiday season. But aside from that, we don't normally talk about gaming too much on the show, so
we have our moments.
But not too much.
Thanks to a corporate freebie last January, I do have an Xbox One, as I call it. Daughters love to play the Lego Avengers, or Lego Marvel, because it's pretty much every single Marvel character as far as I can tell as you unlock them. But that's most of my gaming we do. We don't really get into too much else. Though the Xbox One has the scary feature that if you turn it on, you can log into your Xbox Live account purely by the Kinect recognizing your face.
That reminds me of a video.
Every time we put on a DVD or something, I walk in there and it was like, "Hello, Paul." Ba-ding.
Yeah, that's not creepy.
Yeah.
No, there was a video I saw. Somebody was playing like FIFA, whatever. It's international football. And he was like swearing at the game. He was like, "Oh man, you mother effers" or whatnot. Pops up on the screen with the microphone. Foul for language. He was penalized in game for swearing in his own home, and he was even more pissed. And
I so appreciate that.
It's really funny. It better be a toggle. It better be a toggle. For that, I can see that being fun as a toggle, but not if you're forced to have that. Yeah,
no, I think FIFA probably would be a toggle because I downloaded the demo and there seems to be different levels of how stupid of a player are you, which I'm at the dumbest, of course. Because it's like, let's play soccer, and I'm almost getting the hang of this. I'm watching what's going on in the game and how you switch players, and I'm like, there is so much more to this that I don't want to think what the teens with too much time are doing in this game, because you can get down to manager level crap in that game. I'm like, no. So, yeah, I can imagine that's kind of an on-off. How severe do you want your penalties to be? But I like that picks up what you say, and
it
harkens back to
a funny video. So Speaking of videos, who knows what TMZ is?
Sadly, I do.
Yeah.
Somebody decided to give the paparazzi TV show, I guess, to make him validated or something like that. Well, apparently they follow Neil deGrasse Tyson around, and there's this video from the Huffington Post, and he even Neil comments is like, it's TMZ again. It's like, you guys are everywhere, and he asks the TMZ guy asks, what's the most scientifically inaccurate movie ever? A fair question to ask Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'll give you that. And
the man who appeared on Stargate Atlantis, will point out.
And he, without thinking, immediately, Neil says, "Oh, The Black Hole by Disney." It's
it's true.
Yeah, and he's like no, not even any question. And is he goes into it, and you can tell he still has a real problem with this movie, and he's just going off on it. And then and then the guy is like, well, what about Armageddon or no? He didn't. No. Neil brought up Armageddon. It's well, at least Armageddon was fun, even though it still had things wrong with it. And it's so what about Deep Impact? And it's well, Deep Impact had a lot more of the science right, but it's a fun short little video. And I thought it was worth sharing.
I'd like to see a series where Neil deGrasse Tyson and Phil Plait just disassemble movies.
We'll start with the Golden Globus oeuvre.
And Dr. James Kakalius.
Yes.
All three of them. All three of them. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Not too distant future. Sorry.
That would be hilarious.
We've just addicted the daughters to that. We showed them the first Gamera movie on MST3K, and they were just in stitches. So they want to see more.
They are the perfect age for MST3K right now.
Yes.
No, going on with your scientists break down the movies thing. Do it maybe sort of MST3K style. But not sort of riffing, but not so much as in if they have to pause the movie to keep talking about this scene, that's what I'd like to see. No, wait, go back and actually rewind. I'd like to see something like that, even if it's a one-time thing. It's like how they would actually do it. Just I like that piecemeal thing. I could be too anal about it, but that's kind of what I.
Oh, I'm adding a fourth person to that dream podcast series. Bridget Landry. Those four people. Bridget Landry, Dr. James Kakalius, Dr. Phil Plait, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I believe is also a doctor. Yes, all of them. Dissecting movies. Tearing them apart.
We gotta tweet that, and then we gotta get that tweet for the show notes so that people can retweet that once they see it.
I could conceivably make it happen. I don't know Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I got the other three.
Oh, that's on your bucket list of people to get to know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Where's my bucket list?
Can we start with Prometheus, please?
Yes.
just to kill that one.
Yes.
Because I just IMDb'd for the fun of it. There is a Prometheus 2 possibly coming up.
Well, it made movie. It made movie. It made money. It made money, and that's bad because I helped it make money. I'm disappointed that I helped it make money, but it did make money, and therefore sequel happens. So next. Secret Service wants a sarcasm detector. No, really. It wants a sarcasm detector for social media.
That's called a smiley? Smileys. You look for smiley.
Yeah, no, Wink. The geekosystem.com brings up a couple of links of, forget about using particular punctuation, because I even seen some people suggest an upside down exclamation point, which doesn't work when you're speaking in Espanol.
Right.
And
I just get this idea that the NSA is going, lol, ruffle maw.
Well, it's like they want to. It's like the Secret Service wants to break down what's are legitimate. They're thinking about security certainly, but I mean,
I'm threatening Obama. I was just being sarcastic. What?
It's oh no,
jeez, dudes.
It's like I'm surprised that nobody has ever like written like what is it, APA standards or whatever the hell AP standards for sarcasm.
Act like a
Quite
teenager.
Yeah, no, everyone's afraid of like adding new characters or new punctuation to things, but
Because that'd confuse people.
ooh.
But still, yeah, it's like in text. How do we do this in text? No.
So yeah, that'll sure work. Let's move on to the next thing, which is
Guitar Wolf.
now
Guitar Wolf is making a new movie. Yeah.
what's it called?
It is called Phonotune. So for those of you who do not know who Guitar Wolf is a Japanese 80s garage punk band that are awesome.
That never left the 80s.
They never left the 80s and never left punk, and they still sound like a garage band. They just play whatever it is really loud, and they get away with it. And they're a lot of fun, especially when you see them live. They're one of the best live shows I've ever seen. They're just so fun. But they made a movie about 10 years ago now called Wild Zero, in which their band killed space zombies, and it was
Every good band should do.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. But they're making a new movie now. It's directed by German filmmaker Fabian Hübner. It's called Phonotune, and it blends the cinema of Japan with a comic book and modern graphic design aesthetic to produce a visually striking electric fairy tale reminiscent of Daft Punk's Electroma and George Lucas's THX 1138.
That's a tall order.
I know, right? There are a lot of people involved in this that are kind of in the Fantastic Fest orbit, which is kind of how I got this this news article, and we'll link it in the show notes. But there's a trailer for Phonotune in the link. There's also a short film called Yellow, which was made by the producer of Phonotune. So there's a little bit to watch in there, and get yourself excited for this thing, and production art and stuff. And it's fun. I recommend taking a look at it.
Cool.
And I hope it turns out. Yay!
Yeah,
So,
I was telling people, that's something I should tell. So I work at a school right now, and the other teacher assistant and the teacher are both are really into music, and in fact, they're not school things that they do are performing. Like my teacher assistant friend, my coworker invited me to. He's going to be playing at Cause on Sunday, and he's been really trying to get me to see his stuff because he's also made a CD in which he was like sort of he brought to school and stuff like that. The music he works on he calls achingly beautiful, which isn't really my genre, but but it's like I was telling them about Fish Story, which is
Fish Story is great.
which is about a different band that saves the world in a way.
Yes.
And,
Fish Story is fantastic.
I should talk to them about Wild Zero next. I just should.
Wild Zero is not as good of a movie as Fish Story. But Wild Zero is a lot of fun.
Fish Story is amazing. Well, then again, by some counts, Wild Zero is also amazing.
Yeah, but it's amazing in a different way.
True.
Yeah.
La, 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 la.
And with that, I think we're at the end of our episode. We got our peaks.
We got peaks.
Melissa.
Okay. First of all, I saw X-Men Days of Future Past. It's good.
Whoop.
I liked it.
Okay.
It's worthwhile. But the big thing I actually wanted to talk about this week is something that I came to a little late. It was released, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's a book called Devil in the White City by Eric Larson.
Oh.
Yes, and if you have not checked it out, it's rather good. It is a kind of a true crime, true history novel, kind of in the vein of In Cold Blood. It tells two stories which happened at the same time in the same city. One is the building of the World's Fair in Chicago, the 1800s one, and the story of H.H. Holmes building a murder hotel.
What?
In Chicago.
A murder hotel.
A murder hotel. He's one of the more infamous serial killers in United States history. So what had happened was while the World's Fair was being built in Chicago, this rather enterprising psychopath decided to build a hotel with like hidden gas lines and chutes and crematoriums, and lure people to stay in the hotel and then murder them for cash and prizes.
Step 3, profit.
It totally true story. Nobody knows how many people he killed.
What, really?
Yeah, but it was a lot.
I think I'm going to start up a hotel.
But the book is fantastic. It focuses, it kind of gives equal time to both stories, but I was actually more drawn into the story of the building of the World's Fair because it was just this massive accomplishment to be made in an extremely short time, and there were a lot of first things that happened at that event. The first Ferris wheel, all of these American hallmarks originated from the World's Fair, and it's just plain a fascinating piece of history, and it's written very well.
Cool.
So it's worth picking up. So who else has a peek?
I have a peek.
Okay. Peek.
Peek.
So we're talking about football, proper football, international football, earlier in the episode. And it's true. It's proper football.
Yes.
And
it's supposed to hand egg. Some of it's called hand egg in the U.S.
So there's from tastefully-offensive.com and of course Vine. Paper airplane hits soccer player and the crowd goes wild. I don't know.
Did the soccer player fall and crumple appropriately?
No, the soccer player it's like you see it just kind of hits something like the neck, and the soccer player like quick looks over and is like okay, and looks back at the thing. But it's like the video starts with a bunch of people throwing the airplanes from like the farthest seats in the stadium, and they see like the airplane going down. It's same shot. You see it flown around, so you're not sure if it's like somebody just making it up. And then there's like there's a Vine that's linked where it's part of a newscast where it's like one of the field cameras follows this paper airplane, doink, and it's like it's from the video, see everyone just like I would do that too. I mean, come on.
If it was in classic proper football, talking international soccer, obviously, given how these guys react when they have contact, because a lot of them will immediately crumple to try to get the penalty. So they'll make it look worse than it is.
Oh, I've seen that. It's so
I would have loved it if this footage, the paper airplane hits, he's like, and falls immediately.
and holds his knee.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, holds his knee.
So pathetic.
Do the middle arc lemon. Where does it hurt?
So do you have a peek, Paul?
Kind of. Via Julie on Facebook. I don't have a link, unfortunately, but it's local. So you're going to have to go to the Orpheum Theater website probably for this. Next April. Because if you missed him last time, he's going to be here again in April next year. Neil deGrasse Tyson at the Orpheum.
Yay!
All right, let's get tickets.
Listen to the man. Get a good spleef going, and wait. He'll be here. I don't know what his. I missed him this time, so I don't know what he goes on about. If he changes topics, or he does a Henry Rollins-esque sort of thing, which would be kind of funny. But yeah, he'll be here for whatever his lecture is. So
Very nice. Very nice.
Also, I think it's too late to get tickets, but next couple months, June, July, I want to say it's July, I gotta look it up. If you're a Night Vale fan, they will also be local and be doing a show here in Minneapolis.
Yep.
So.
Hooray, Nightville. I finally just started watching.
All hail the Glow Cloud. Oh God, I'm so.
All hail the Glow Cloud.
When I found out about it, I mainlined the 20 some episodes I was behind on within a week, and then I've just been waiting for each one after that.
Yeah, I think I started listening about 2 days ago, and I'm already on episode 9.
Yep. Yes, my daughters are trying to ask for an explanation of it. I said, the dog park. There is no dog park. Don't go near the dog park. Forget about the dog park. There is no dog park.
Beware of the hooded figures in the dog park. Do not acknowledge the hooded figures in the dog park.
Yes. That was the other gift, by the way, for my wonderful wife, is I have a Night Vale Radio intern shirt now. which probably freaked some people out when I went running in it, because it's a red shirt with the logo on it and a patch here with blood stains and names crossed out, and so as you're running and sweating and you go by the Lutheran church as the lady's coming out and she's like, hi? I'm like, that's so Minnesotan of you.
Yeah.
Where would you suggest someone start listening to Night Vale?
Episode 1.
You really have to start episode 1, because by the time you get to where I am now, there is an actual ongoing plot line with Strex Corp.
Mm-hmm.
Look inside of you. Look outside of you. Look around you. Strex Corp, we're there.
I have all these shows that I need to catch up on, and I don't have time because I record and edit audio-video stuff, so I can't listen to it while I work.
Well, Night Vale goes pretty fast.
Yeah, they only do 2 a month.
Yeah, and they're fairly short.
Yeah, about a half hour.
Half hour or less.
Yeah. And if you don't, and one thing you can do if you want to shorten it up desperately, is sometimes I will do, is they have a musical interlude, some independent band that they'll play, and if you want to skip it, then that can shorten up a lot.
Well, that's the bathroom break.
Yeah, well, that's when I go through the weather. So yeah,
right,
there's Kashuk the cat and all that.
So, shall we?
I suppose we need an outro. Let's see. Outro! There we go. This has been the Geek Life. You can catch us on the web at thegeeklife.tv. You can email us stories@thegeeklife.tv or talkback at thegeeklife.tv. Basically, stories. If you have a story suggestion, talkback if you want to gripe to Fess about something. I take no responsibility. I foster it off on everybody else. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 1-612-567-6515. If you go to our website, which I think is still working, there's probably a link there to the voicemail, and it will call you back, like in Soviet Russia.
Well, if we move in things,
wherever
that's not going to be there anymore. So and nobody uses it. So
well, then just call that number, damn it.
Or email us at MP3. It's like
that'd be better.
Yeah.
Facebook, we're the Geek Life. Twitter, we're at the Geek Life TV, and Google Plus, we're the Geek Life Podcast. That's it for this week. This has been Paul. Bye. And Fess.
See ya.
And Melissa.
Bye-bye.
It was a random order.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit stop broadcast and see what happens.